Hi everyone, please take your seats. Summit. My name is Paul Brigner, and I am the head of Coinbase Institute. Today, you are going to experience a truly unique event, one that we believe is distinctly different from typical DC policy gatherings for a couple of reasons. First of all, we will be addressing a familiar, I'm going to work out our sound issues here. We got a little bit of feedback. Okay, let's go back. First of all, we will be addressing a familiar policy topic, privacy, from a completely different angle than many would expect. Privacy, of course, means different things to different folks, and its meaning depends on the context. Until recently, privacy in the policy context has focused on how intermediaries handle the personal and private information of others. In contrast, we are here to talk about privacy from a different perspective, one that is made possible by advanced cryptography known as zero-knowledge proof technology that has been pioneered in the blockchain industry due to its applicability to a wide range of use cases in distributed systems. This transformational technology that can give individuals, not intermediaries, control over their privacy is so new that most people don't even know it exists. But that couldn't be farther from the truth in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry, where the world's leading cryptographers have been hard at work to not only make this new technology a fundamental part of a new financial system, but also a fundamental part of a Web3 based internet. The other reason this event is unique is it has been produced from a journalistic perspective, one that is intended to break down this very complex topic, into a series of sessions that makes zero-knowledge proof technology digestible and translatable to policymakers, not just cryptographers or software engineers. This is all thanks to the significant contributions by the team of journalists at Project Glitch, who have developed today's outstanding program and worked closely with me to plan every aspect of this special event. Now for a couple of acknowledgments. As mentioned, this is an innovative event, and I am very grateful to Coinbase, and specifically to my boss, Faryar Shahzad, who is a chief policy officer at Coinbase, for making a significant investment in this event and for establishing the Coinbase Institute to do this important work in collaboration with the policy community. I would also like to acknowledge USC and the VanEck Digital Asset Initiative at the USC Marshall School of Business for making this beautiful new venue available for this meeting. And with that, I'll now turn the mic over to Dean Jeffrey Garrett. He's Dean of the USC Marshall School of Business, and he's going to give some short opening remarks. After Dean Garrett will be Eric Chung. He's the Managing Director of the VanEck Digital Assets Initiative at the USC Marshall School of Business. Dean Garrett, thank you so much.
Good morning. It's great to see everybody here on a beautiful fall day on the East Coast. Weather's a little different in California at the moment. We've had Santa Ana winds. This is a convergence for USC of two really, really important priorities for the university. One is to be pushing the frontiers of computing. The second is to be connecting with industry and the policy community in this incredible new space that USC now owns in DC. So the convergence of technology and policy, of course, is why you're all here. But I want to let you know where it fits into my understanding of of where the Marshall School of Business is going and where business is going. We're clearly living in an age when technological change is creating opportunities that have literally never existed before and that we could never have thought of. So on the one side, the opportunity square is blinking really brightly at the moment. But I think we all know that the pace of technological change is so rapid that the societal disruptions associated with it, or perceived disruptions associated with it, are equally large. So as I like to say to our students, we're both in the opportunity and the responsibility business. And nothing is more focused on that intersection than our Van Eck Digital Assets Initiative. So at Marshall now, combined with the engineering school, we have, I think, about 12 unique blockchain classes that our students can take. But at the same time, we're really focused both on regulation and on the ethics of technology. So this event obviously is squarely focused on that intersection. Let me talk a little bit about it very briefly from an outsider's perspective. I'm really struck by how important the blockchain, crypto, Web3 conversation has become in the presidential election. And I think you all know that, but I saw some of the data just about the political contributions of cryptocurrency companies as a proportion of total corporate spend on the election, and it's a big chunk. I can't remember the number, 20%, 30%, maybe you know the real numbers there. But I think that's because the stakes are really, really high. And I think there's one of the great organizations associated with this event is called Pretty Good Policy. And I think that's a really smart idea because you all know that the likely government reaction to big technology disruptions will be dumb regulation. And I think we're all interested in good regulation. And clearly there are lots of issues there that are really, really important. And certainly one of them is privacy. So I think an event that could show that the world of blockchain is not a place where dark things happen and are hidden from public view, but rather something that empowers creators and owners of their own IP to protect that IP and to have privacy from the bottom up. Nothing could be more important than that. So for me, representing USC, representing the business school, and being involved in the Van Eck Digital Assets Initiative, it's just a real pleasure for me to be here today. I have to say, looking at the agenda, my ability to understand any of it is near zero. But of course, I take that as a really good thing because it shows me just how rapidly the technology is moving and how on the cutting edge you all are. So, Eric, do you want to come up and talk a little more about Van Eck? But as a representative of USC here, I just want to welcome you all to this beautiful campus, and I hope you have a fantastic day today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric, and I am the Managing Director for USC Marshall Van Eck Digital Assets Initiative, or VEDA for short. So, as Jeff alluded to, VEDA has played a large role in making sure that this event is made possible because we believe that there's a very big moments that we have for this industry right now when it comes to our engagement with policymakers and regulations, and making sure that we have the proper academic expertise at the table and engaging in those conversations. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the Van Eck Digital Assets Initiative itself, and then we'll turn it over to the rest of the agenda. So we were seated by the generous donors at Van Eck, Jan and Cynthia Van Eck, a couple of years ago to create a program that is, has the simple mission of catalyzing digital asset innovation within the USC ecosystem. So we do that in three main ways. The first is curriculum. As Jeff has mentioned, we have 12 courses now, ranging from DeFi to Web3 entrepreneurship, to smart contract development at USC. So we're extremely proud of also launching the first blockchain minor program through the engineering school, and we have some bigger ambitions to create a full-blown program in partnership with the business school and the engineering school. So on the curriculum front, we're super excited to start engaging in these topics in a much more structured way to get students involved. So on the research side, now this is where we are able to really engage with industry and also demonstrate our academic prowess with a focus on application layer primitives, because we believe that with the characteristics of blockchain, we're able to have properties like composability, transparency, all these things that are important that make blockchain digital assets stand out as a technology, enabling technology. We're exploring the intersections of AI and crypto, obviously privacy, payments and stablecoins, and because of our location in Los Angeles, engaging with the creator economy, with Hollywood and companies like Netflix, UTA, et cetera, is always a big, something that we're really leaning into at USC. And finally, on the community and events front, with things like this, partnering with amazing people like Paul Brigner to make an event like this happen, we're super excited to continually engage not just within the ecosystem, upskilling our faculty and students, and giving them resources when it comes to learning about the landscape of digital assets, but also externally and making sure that we are making a strong presence in the community with regards to the things that we're doing within the university walls. So, with that said, I am incredibly impressed that, when I first got into crypto 8 years ago, my first company was doing developer boot camps, and over a span of 2 years, I had been training 400 developers on Solidity development, and now we have the opportunity to have events like this, and not scrounge through meetup.com, and have to pull together people just to fill up a room. Now we have universities, amazing impacts that we're able to make on the Hill. The list goes on, right? The industry has come very far. So I'm just really honored to be a part of this through Paul and USC. And I hope that this morning and afternoon is full of rich insights for all of you. Okay, so thank you very much.
Now it's time for the main event. First, a special thank you to our lead sponsor, the Coinbase Institute, and our event sponsors, Alio, Arcturus, Brown Rudnick, and Polygon Maiden. The legal conflict over the Ethereum-based privacy tool Tornado Cash has illuminated a policy impasse that's been building for quite some time, and it's raised novel, technical, and legal questions. Why does that matter? Please welcome Peter van Valkenburg, Director of Research at Coin Center, to the stage.
Thanks, everyone. It really is a miraculous day when the weather is better here than in Southern California. So thanks for spending some time indoors with us. Is there some issue with the slides? Oh, great. Fantastic. All my concerns have been allayed. So I'm Peter van Valkenburg. I'm the Director of Research at Coin Center. And thank you for having me here today. I've been working in this space for 10 years, as long as Coin Center has existed. We're a nonprofit research and advocacy group that's dedicated to explaining how these technologies work to policymakers, educating them, researching areas where there are hard questions in public policy, and then advocating for our preferred public policy solutions before Congress, before the agencies, basically whoever's got questions. And there's always a lot of questions, right? I'm trying to decide what I like here. This is good. So forgive me, I do have some written remarks, and the reason why will become perhaps worryingly clear in a moment, because when Mike Oakert of Project Glitch invited me to talk, he told me how he was thinking of framing today's event. He wanted it to be about communication, or maybe more aptly, miscommunication about how the assumptions that we've all made, regulators assuming things about technologists, technologists assuming things about regulators, the predispositions we come to, the questions with, and the imprecise statements that we've all from time to time made, how all of that together has led us to where we are today, where we don't actually understand each other very well anymore. And because of that lack of understanding, we fight. We fight over privacy. We fight more specifically over the Tornado Cash sanctions. My organization, Coin Center, is suing the Treasury over those sanctions. And we fight over criminal liability for the developers of Tornado Cash. So, in the spirit of less fighting and finding more ways to communicate, and also in the spirit of my typical evenings these days, now that I have two very adorable but mischievous little ones. Thank you. This morning was a struggle. I've decided to eschew a bunch of statutory and constitutional exegesis and instead tell a silly story. A parable about Clearville, the land of glass houses. For as long as anyone could think of, the town of Clearville had only one building material to speak of: glass. Cars made of glass, shops, stores, and halls. Why, even the homes had glass roofs and glass walls. Now, the glass of Clearville was unusually strong, so nobody worried about glass built too long, or breaks, shattered bits, or cuts from the shards. They only did worry about looks from their yards. See, the townsfolk of Clearville were very polite. They knew they were watched from morning through night. They also were a bit dull, an entire town in a creative lull, because people who are always watched seldom do anything worth watching. They're just too afraid to be judged for the things they might be botching. But one day, a stranger came to town in a terrifically tall truck of instant renown. The size of the truck was one for the books, but even stranger was its very new looks. The truck wasn't made of glass, not at all. It was positively opaque, a monstrous wall. And once they got to thinking about it, even more alarming was because of the truck's sheer opacity, no one could see what might be inside its capacity. They'd soon find out. For the stranger went by the name of Shade, and Shade had one goal: sell shades and get paid. Curtains, blinds, even frosted glass. And sell them he did, right from his truck. He sold the lot to the last. You see, the Clearvillians were pretty darn sick of always looking over their shoulders, even in the relative privacy of their glass people holders. A few said, well, I've nothing to hide. But even those folks admitted that a curtain or two in the bathroom was good for their pride. Soon, every house in Clearville was positively swathed with shades. And Shade didn't only have strange wares to sell, he had some tall tales to tell. He talked of his friends back in the land of unclear. There was paint, wood, and stone, even vinyl veneer. Now, markets, science, and trends tend to move faster than the state comprehends, so it was with a shock that the mayor of Clearville awoke one morning to a dark, dark room. "The sun's gone out," he said with a start. "Oh no, it's just that wall that the neighbors curtained in part." But Mayor Clear's morning was about to get worse. Still not out of bed, he heard Clearvillians chanting in verse. Peeking out of his windows, he saw them outside. They'd come to complain from near, far, and wide. Not about Shade, but of other intrusions. From the chief of police, Constable I, and his inapt conclusions, it seems that I had been bothering them all, banging on doors whenever he'd call. This was something new to the town. It was once the case that I would simply walk by and, well, spy to be sure that nothing so sly was going on in the houses of Clearville. But now, well, now he had no way to tell what troubles afoot. All that glass was as see-through as soot. He had particular suspicions about houses 2, 6, and 9, of whose inhabitants there wasn't a sign. Were they in there? How many? And what were they doing? He swore when he listened he'd heard improper cooing. Yes, I was near certain that behind a red curtain the folks in House 9 were paying for favors sublime. My eye, said Mayor Clear. I trust you, I do, and forgive me my sneer, but you can't just barge into a house that's suspicious. You've got to have evidence your hunch is propitious. I've a better plan, sir, I said with a stir. We'll simply go raid the truck of that despicable Shade. So to Shade's truck they went, to learn of the curtains he lent, to houses 9, 6, and 2, to charge him with crimes of the rest of that crew. I just gave them some shade, he said, for the money I made. Just what they might do, even inside of my view, was none of my business or trade. So you saw what they did, and it's that which you hid. What a very fine tale. Now we'll take you to jail, and of this troublesome truck we'll be rid. And that, my friends, is the end of our Clearville charade. Gone was the source of the infamous Shade. Pay you no mind to the many loose ends. Like what of the new materials from all of Shade's friends? Should they sell in Clearville? I guess it depends. And what of the Clearvillians still fully ensconced in velvet velour Shade already had launched? Are they allowed to keep drawing those blinds? No, or maybe, or yes, but only if they've no crimes in their minds. So Clearville is, perhaps obviously, Bitcoin. It could also be Ethereum, because Ethereum inherited the entirely transparent ledger quality of Bitcoin's original design. And the lesson here is that Bitcoin's blockchain was not originally fully transparent because it was desired to be fully transparent. It was but one step in a necessary technological evolution. And what I'm saying is we should not assume that the particular transparency of an existing technology is inherently a moral or ethical imperative. It could very well be a mere accident or a temporary technical limitation, like the glass houses of Clearville. People will continue to change Bitcoin and build new networks that are more private. It's not a holy relic. Now, Shade is Tornado Cash. Sorry, I got my slides here. Or really, Tornado Cash is developers, right? Tornado Cash is the bolts of fabric that people can put up in their glass houses. And what I want to communicate here, hopefully not miscommunicate, is that we should not assume that the inventors of incremental improvements are inherently doing something wrong, especially in the absence of their clear intent to assist known criminals. And nor should we assume that these inventors are one-offs or frauds. Sure, they might be misfits in the Steve Jobs sense, but they can't be ignored. In many ways, this technology is inevitable. If not Tornado Cash, then there are countless other projects and potential protocols which will continually improve, bringing privacy not just to Ethereum, but to Bitcoin as well. Indeed, probably to ultimately all financial transactions globally. Now, there's an ambiguity in the story that you might have noticed. Shade might be only selling curtains, but he might have also installed them himself in houses 2, 6, and 9. He might have even seen the inhabitants of those houses committing crimes, and yet he installed the curtains anyway. And so the question here is, at what point is someone doing more than sharing tools for general usage? At what point are they conspiring to further some crime by providing those tools? If they've no personal interaction with those potential criminal users beyond publishing a smart contract and a website that criminals, along with others, use, are they culpable? If they're not culpable at that point, then are they culpable if they continue to update the software on the website after it's become apparent that some of the users may be committing crimes? When should Shade have stopped installing the curtains? When he noticed some funny business happening in the back room? When he was told explicitly that they wanted these curtains to hide criminal activity? Should he demand identification and a criminal background check before installing curtains in a person's home? Another question: what fraction of users must be suspected criminals before the service is effectively a de facto criminal service, and its mere continued provision or maintenance is prima facie evidence of a criminal conspiracy? So, a reasonable estimate suggests that SWIFT may facilitate the movement of approximately $2.8 trillion in illicit funds each year. That's far more than Tornado Cash. In absolute terms, it's less than Tornado Cash as far as the illicit fractions share relative to total flows. My question is simply, should we pick a number? Should we pick a percentage? And finally, is there something special about money or about money laundering that makes it different from my parable? We don't obligate home security installers to actively identify and report evidence of their customers' crimes. We don't hold the developers of encrypted messaging platforms, typically, though that may be changing, responsible for their users' crimes. Is money special? Why? And then, what of our story's very unsatisfying ending? I'm no Dr. Seuss. The one with all the loose ends. Shade is in jail. His truck is impounded. What good does this do anyone? Even if we arrest and incarcerate the inventors of these tools, the tools and ideas will remain in the world. They cannot be uninvented. And they can only be universally confiscated through extreme tactics and the invasion of many persons' rights. Can we ever get Clearville back? In this manner, the story is actually far less extreme than reality. It would take only a handful of Constable I's deputies and a few big night raids to pull all the red curtains down and return the town to its prior transparency. But with the digital realm, tools are infinitely replicable. They're copied, they're shared, they're spread, they're made now, thanks to blockchains, immutable. You can decide what that means, but definitely hard to remove. It is likely a fool's errand to try and forbid anyone from using privacy tools online. Also, I see Amin in the audience. I think he might be the source of this shirt. Also, can we or should we ban the legitimate uses of these tools alongside their criminal uses? I think no. I think it's very good that we, Coin Center, can be supported anonymously, if people wish to support us anonymously, through Tornado Cash. It's very good that our John Doe co-plaintiff in our lawsuit challenging the sanctions can privately send money to support the defense of Ukraine without immediately drawing the scrutiny of the Russian intelligence services. So if we don't want to just ban legitimate privacy uses of the tech, what do? Can we pre-screen legitimate uses and filter out the bad ones? Does that kind of prior restraint scale to the scope of all the things people do on the internet every day? Is it fair? Is it constitutional? Who decides which uses of the privacy tool are good and which are forbidden? And so, Tornado Cash matters because it brings all these questions into clear focus. It demands that we consider a balance between privacy and security, and it demands that we be realistic